Properties of logarithms. We want to know if logarithms have some properties, and we want to look back at the definition of logarithm. So notice in an earlier video where we talked about what are logarithms, we looked at these equations. So logarithm of 100 to base 10 is 2. So really, what's logarithm of a number? So logarithm of a number is that exponent to which you need to raise the base. And you can see in all these examples. So logarithm of 32, really when you write like this, log base 232, you're talking about logarithm of 32. And then you say the base is 2. So logarithm of 32 to base 2 is 5 because you need to raise this base 2 to the 5th exponent. So logarithm is nothing but that exponent. So that's what we want to remember. And now let's move on to some properties of logarithms. The first property of logarithm that we want to look at is, what is logarithm base b of b? So looking at that definition of logarithm, you're really asking b should be raised to what exponent? So b to the power of what happens to be equal to b? And a quick thought will tell you that it has to be 1 because b power 1 is b. So this is one property of logarithm. Logarithm of a number to the same base will be equal to 1. Now let's look at one other property. What happens if I want to take logarithm of 1 to the base b? So this time, again, just like here, I'm asking b to the what power is equal to 1. And you know that the answer has to be 0. And in all these examples, let us assume that b can never be 0 or b is positive. So if b was 0, then I can't say 0 power 0 is 1. So, but I know that b has to be positive. So positive number to the power 0 will be equal to 1. So there are these two properties which have numbers on the right side and you have a single logarithm. Now let's see if there is a way to combine two or more logarithms. So let's say log x base b plus log y, again to the same base. Now it would be nice if we could combine these two logarithms into a single logarithm. So for that, let's think back to the properties or definition of logarithm and properties of exponents. So say this was some m and log base b of y is equal to n. Now from the definition of logarithm, we know b to the m happens to be equal to x and b to the n happens to be y. And what do you think you can do when you have b power m equals x, b power n equals y? We can multiply these two equations and we get b power m times b power n equals xy. And from the laws of exponents, we get b power m times b power n is b power m plus n. Now we wrote this with a single base and a single exponent, m plus n. And now I can convert this to logarithmic equation. How do I convert that? Well, I'll go write log and take same base of xy equals m plus n. So notice, m happens to be this, n happens to be that. So what I'm getting is log x plus log y is log xy to the same base b. So that's our third property. Logarithm of x plus logarithm of y is log of xy. you multiply. When you combine two logarithms into a single logarithm, you want to multiply those quantities, x and y. Now, similarly, we can prove, just like we did here, what would be log x base b minus log y base b. And we can prove if addition caused us to multiply xy, subtraction will make us divide. And that's going to be our next property, property 4. And I can have more than two terms, or I don't even have to have different ones. What would I have if the y was also replaced by x? Then log x base b plus log x base b is log base b of x square. So what this is trying to tell me is, if I have log base b of x square, then notice the left side is simply 2 log base b x. So this is going to be 2 log base b x. So this property is trying to tell me that if you have an exponent, you can move it up front. And let's put this one also in a box. So these are some of the properties of logarithms. The first two have just number as an answer, and 3 and 4 are trying to tell us how to combine two logarithms. It says if you have a plus, then it transforms to multiplication. Minus would translate to division. And if you have an exponent, that exponent could be brought in the front.